a dope rapper, but I think sometimes Meek falls victim to I have to explain myself because they be playing with my name.
Yeah.
And the more he responds, the more they.
Let's talk about the filth that's starting to come out in the early days of the Diddy trial. This, of course, is P. Diddy. Surprise, surprise, he's a creep. Surprise, surprise, he's done horrible.
The world is reeling today as whispers that once belonged only to the deepest corners of industry gossip have exploded into public view. Beyonce and Jay Z are no longer living under the same roof. Insiders say the Queen herself has packed her bags and left, pulling the thread on what many believed to be the most unshakable dynasty in entertainment. For years, we saw them as royalty, the embodiment of power, wealth, and family perfection, but behind the velvet curtain there was rot, and now it's spilling out for everyone to see. The betrayal that split them apart isn't the usual story of wandering eyes or a late-night affair. The truth, insiders insist, is stranger, darker, and far more explosive. Jay-Z's infidelity isn't with another woman, it's with none other than Sean Diddy Combs.
One of the allegations was that Diddy had the Philadelphia rapper who dated Nicki Minaj. Immediately, people identified the rapper as Meek Mill.
We have to let that sink in for a moment. Jay Z, the husband Beyonce stood beside through storm after storm, is accused of hiding a double life not just with another partner, but with his longtime collaborator, a man who has built and destroyed empires of his own. And suddenly, all those carefully choreographed red carpet smiles and family photo apps look like the stagecraft of a cover-up. Could it be that Beyonce's marriage was never the fairy tale but a mask designed to keep Jay-Z's secrets buried? To many fans, it feels like the perfect family portrait has been ripped apart, revealing something far colder beneath. The whispers say Beyonce discovered proof, undeniable evidence, that shattered her loyalty and her patience. We're told the moment of discovery was so explosive, it nearly derailed both their careers at once. Imagine the fury of a woman who not only held together a billion-dollar brand, but also carried the role of dutiful wife, only to find out her partner was entangled in a scandal after scandal. No wonder she walked out. The cracks in the Carter empire suddenly look less like accidents and more like a controlled demolition, years in the making.
Yes.
Beyonce.
Gorgeous. A stab to my self-esteem.
Fans are combing through the past, replaying old interviews, watching every side glance, every awkward pause, wondering how much of what we thought was real was just smoke. Was Beyonce nothing more than a chess piece in a much larger game? Was she pushed into a marriage designed to hide the truth about two men whose alliance has always been more personal than professional? When we re-examine the story through that lens, the timing, the partnerships, even the silence in moments of scandal, it all begins to make sense. Jay-Z's loyalty to Diddy has always seemed unusual, almost unbreakable, and now we may finally know why. But this scandal isn't confined to bedrooms and broken vows. Insiders are whispering that Jay-Z and Diddy's connection goes far beyond romance. For years, the two have been shadowed by allegations of shady business dealings, secretive schemes, and nights that ended in more than just bubbly toasts. When prosecutors circled Diddy, when lawsuits piled up, Jay-Z's name was whispered too. But he never flipped, never distanced himself, never pointed the finger. Now we see the theory laid bare. He couldn't. The bond wasn't just financial, it was intimate, a pact of protection sealed in ways the public could barely imagine.
Jay-Z got his put by his sister-in-law on camera. What's her name? Solange. You gotta imagine, the feds ain't step in and do nothing. The feds don't care about you getting your whooped.
This raises a chilling question. How deep does this connection go? And what secrets are being buried to keep it alive? In the halls of power, loyalty can be bought, but in this case, loyalty may be fueled by something more dangerous. If Jay-Z has stood silently beside Diddy through wave after wave of scandal, is it because he knows that exposing Diddy would also expose himself? Think of the crimes they've been accused of weaving together, the rumors of hidden parties, financial cover-ups, entire circles of silence designed to keep the truth sealed away. For years, investigators have asked why Jay-Z never turned his back. The answer may not be business, but love. And it's here where the conspiracy theories that have haunted hip-hop for decades come roaring back. Could the tragedy of Aaliyah, one of the brightest stars of her generation, hold the key to understanding why Jay-Z and Diddy are bound so tightly together? We remember the official story, the plane overloaded, the pilot unfit, the crash that ended her life at only 22. But ever since that day, whispers have persisted. Some say Aaliyah was silenced because she knew too much. Others believe she stood in the way of Beyonce's ascension, that her very existence threatened the carefully constructed path the industry was laying out.
What's up, This is Beyonce on the red carpet with one of the hottest female artists out here.
Miss Aaliyah, how you doing,
baby?
girl?
It's so good to see you again.
Aaliyah spent her final days in the orbit of both men. She was close to Damon Dash, Jay-Z's partner at Rockefeller, but photographs show her laughing with Jay-Z, hugging him at parties, standing beside Diddy at holiday gatherings. The triangle of power surrounding her was unmistakable, and in hindsight, it looks less like friendship and more like foreshadowing. She reportedly expressed unease about that fatal flight, refusing at first to board the plane. Some accounts claim she was given a pill, fell into a deep sleep, and was carried on board against her will. If true, it paints a picture not of accident but of orchestration.
I want you to think about this. Allegedly, Sean Carter is responsible for enacting Hype Williams to put Aaliyah on a faulty plane to move her out the way as punishment for rejecting him, and so he could level up Beyonce.
And the conspiracy doesn't stop there. Theories exploded in the years after, suggesting that her absence cleared the path for Beyoncé's meteoric rise. Was Aaliyah meant to be the true queen of R&B, only to have her throne vacated by tragedy? Did Jay Z and Diddy, together, play a role in making sure the industry crowned Beyoncé? Instead, at the time, Beyoncé herself spoke of Aaliyah with warmth, calling her the first to embrace Destiny's Child. But to conspiracy believers, those words sound less like tribute and more like a clue. As lawsuits against Diddy pile up and as Jay-Z finds himself named alongside him in shocking new allegations, we begin to see the outline of a story that spans decades. The public sees two moguls, titans of music and business. Insiders whisper that what truly binds them isn't the empire, but the secrets they share. Secrets too dangerous to speak aloud. Secrets buried under headlines about family, fame, and fortune. And perhaps if we follow the trail back to the Bahamian runway where Aaliyah's life ended so abruptly, we might understand why Jay-Z and Diddy's loyalty to one another has always seemed more like...
That just goes to show you how far the homosexual movement within hip-hop and sports still needs.
For years, whispers in industry backrooms painted their marriage as a performance, a flawless mask concealing Jay-Z's secret life with Diddy. High-profile events, the glamorous photo shoots, the staged declarations of unity, it all looks different now. Executives and insiders have long hinted that the real love story was never between Jay-Z and Beyonce, but between Jay-Z and Diddy. We're told about lavish late-night gatherings where the two men would disappear together, coded lyrics that seemed to nod toward their bond, and circles of power, where everyone knew, but no one dared to say it aloud. Beyoncé's silence, viewed through this lens, feels less like devotion and more like strategy. Her way of preserving the Carter brand, even as her private reality unraveled behind closed doors.
I seen him do it before. I seen him even tell people on the phone before, like, yo, like he did Wendy Williams.
The parties they threw together were legendary. White-theme extravaganzas in the Hamptons, Miami getaways crawling with politicians, stars, and moguls. Those parties were not just about bubbly toasts and designer suits. They were about trust, silence, and shared secrets. Diddy's infamous white parties were said to be equal parts business meeting and private confessional. One former attendee claimed that Jay-Z's loyalty was sealed during these nights, where everyone in the room was bound by NDAs and a code of silence that stretched far beyond the industry. Was this where their romance blurred into their criminal ties? Too many who were present insist the two men were inseparable, more like partners in life than business rivals. The silence of Beyoncé becomes even more striking in this light. Imagine the weight she carried, knowing that her husband's public image was built on a lie, but also knowing that breaking it would implode not just her marriage, but an empire. She played the role of queen, smiling in gowns and holding her children's hands on camera while privately carrying the knowledge of a double life. For years, her silence protected the dynasty, but insiders now frame her recent departure as her act of rebellion. Her refusal to keep playing along, to walk away from that level of secrecy, wasn't just personal, it was revolutionary.
When we got back to New York City, Wendy Williams was in Philly at a new station.
And yet beneath even that betrayal lies a darker thread, one that pulls us back to the haunting tragedy of Aaliyah. She was the radiant princess of R&B, only 22 when her life ended on that runway in the Bahamas. Official reports speak of an unfit pilot and an overloaded plane, but the theories that never fade suggest something more sinister. She had connections with all three men, Damon Dash, her boyfriend at the time, Jay Z, who reportedly pursued her relentlessly, and Diddy, who kept her close at industry events. Too many coincidences, too many overlapping ties.
So why does it all come to a head now? Why now? Why?
Because he's the acceptable monster at this time, like R. Kelly was the last time I sat on this couch.
So who's next?
Y'all don't see the lineup?
Yeah, we see the lineup.
Conspiracy theorists argue that Aaliyah knew too much. She knew about Jay Z's interest, about Diddy's private world, and perhaps about the quiet intimacy binding them together. If she spoke out, she could have dismantled the entire house of cards. Her refusal to board that doomed plane at first only fuels suspicion. Accounts say she was uneasy, that she resisted, that she was eventually carried aboard in a deep sleep after being given a pill. Was it exhaustion? Was it manipulation? The truth may be too dangerous to reveal, but the whispers grow louder each year. The theories spiraled almost immediately after her passing. Some claimed she was sacrificed by the industry to clear a path for Beyonce, that the Illuminati itself had chosen who would ascend. Others pointed at Jay Z and Diddy, suggesting her silence would have been too much of a risk. Beyonce herself once called Aaliyah the very first person to embrace Destiny's Child. Words meant as praise, but now interpreted by some as foreshadowing of a passing torch. Was Aaliyah's absence the final piece that allowed Beyonce to rise unchallenged, her rival and friend gone too soon?
So that's just competitive.
Competitiveness.
All right, so you and Diddy, you and Puff cool?
No, I don't really rock with him.
Okay,
like that.
damn, all right. I didn't know what that meant.
Okay.
All right, okay.
The parallels between the two women are haunting. Both emerged from R&B groups in their early years, both were guided by powerful male figures in the industry, and both possessed not just extraordinary voices, but a rare charisma that made them natural icons. Aaliyah's second album, 1 in a Million, had already gone double platinum, positioning her as a generational leader. By the time she starred in Romeo Must and prepared for Queen of the Damned, Hollywood was ready to anoint her as its next crossover star. Then, within months of her passing, Destiny's Child exploded into superstardom, and Beyoncé's trajectory changed forever. The timing is difficult to ignore, and it leaves us with the uneasy feeling that one career may have ended just as another was given space to flourish.
And I'm not saying allegedly.
Oh.
I'm saying, Sean Carter, you're a piece of shit. Taking Pimp C wasn't bad enough. You just want to go down there and you want to just remove all of the balls from every real gangster in Houston.
Industry watchers have often dissected the eerie synchronicity between their paths. Aaliyah's blend of sleek futurism and streetwise style had already transformed R&B by the late 1990s. Beyoncé, still in her group at the time, would later adopt many of the same stylistic elements, seamlessly stepping into the cultural space Aaliyah once dominated. As magazine covers, fashion spreads, movie roles, all the opportunities that seemed destined for Aaliyah were suddenly redirected, and Beyoncé became the face of a new era. To those who believe in fate, it's tragic coincidence. To those who lean toward conspiracy, it feels like a door deliberately closed for one star so another could walk through.
There was no internet, people taking pictures of you and putting your personal life or exploiting your personal life as entertainment. I think people are so brainwashed. You get up in the morning, you click on the computer, you see all these pictures, and it's all you think of is the picture and the image that you see all day, every day.
The emotional weight of this connection cannot be overstated. Fans who adored Aaliyah saw in her a softness and a fierce independence that set her apart from her peers. When Beyoncé ascended, many felt the void Aaliyah left had been filled, but in a way that seemed orchestrated rather than organic. It was as if the industry had selected its chosen queen, pivoting seamlessly to Beyoncé when Aaliyah was no longer there to compete. The speculation lingers. Would Beyoncé's solo career have launched with the same dominance if Aaliyah had still been alive and thriving? Or did the tragedy cement Beyoncé's path as inevitable? Adding to the mystery are the subtle ways the entertainment machine seemed to rewrite history. Projects Aaliyah had been attached to were quietly reassigned, while the public was encouraged to celebrate Beyoncé as the embodiment of youthful brilliance. The echoes between their styles and ambitions turned into overlaps so strong that some fans whisper Aaliyah's legacy was absorbed into Beyoncé's brand. Aaliyah Whispered says, "Jesus was born to persecution and poverty," seems Aaliyah's answer to Beyoncé's brand. Whether by cruel coincidence or calculated maneuvering, the result is the same. Beyoncé's rise to unrivaled power came only after the world lost the woman who, by all accounts, could have stood right beside her. This chilling parallel continues to raise the question, was it destiny or was it design?
Weirdo. I don't give no what you got in your head, that neural link. You'll never outthink me. Ever.
We cannot ignore the timing. Just as Aaliyah's career was soaring, Beyoncé's was beginning its unstoppable climb. The overlap is undeniable. Two women of similar age, similar talent, both branching into acting, both poised to dominate. When one fell, the other soared. We cannot prove causation, but to conspiracy hunters, it feels like a pattern too neat to be natural. Add Jay-Z's undeniable interest in Aaliyah, documented by Damon Dash himself, and the picture becomes even more unsettling. Was it jealousy, rivalry, or protection that tethered these men so tightly to her fate? As we connect these threads, the loyalty between Jay-Z and Diddy begins to make chilling sense. They are tied not just by romance, but by history, by secrets that, if spoken aloud, could shatter careers, brands, and legacies. Court filings now name them side by side in allegations too dark to ignore, their names linked in lawsuits that speak of nights filled with manipulation, coercion, and silence. Why has Jay-Z never turned on Diddy? Why has he stood in the line of fire, refusing to distance himself even as the accusations mount? Perhaps because to betray Diddy would be to betray himself.
I mean, let's just be real for a second. There are a lot of lawyers who call this legal extortion. And that this is the way the legal system works, which is you threaten somebody with reputational harm. And in this case, it's interesting that Jay Z, who's very wealthy, said it would be financial ruin.
And what happens if Beyoncé finally breaks her silence? Imagine the fallout if the queen herself speaks openly. If she confirms even fragments of what insiders are saying, the music world would be shaken to its core. Fans would no longer see Jay-Z as the untouchable mogul or Diddy as the eternal hustler turned billionaire. They would see two men bound by a secret pact, a relationship hidden in plain sight, shielded by a marriage built on illusion. The empire would not simply crumble, it would implode. The stakes are higher than ever. Each lawsuit, each resurfaced photograph, each insider's whisper adds fuel to the fire. If the truth is forced into daylight, it could redefine how we remember the last 3 decades of music. Was the Carter marriage nothing more than a smokescreen? Was Aaliyah's fate tied to secrets we were never meant to uncover? How much longer can this double life survive in an era where every hidden detail eventually comes to light?
She walked away, got no money.
Got nothing.
Over.
And Jay-Z celebrated that, the fact that...
We should say, and it was filed by the lawyer who has filed a slew of...
The walls are closing in, with investigators circling Diddy, with lawsuits naming Jay-Z, with Beyoncé's departure making headlines. The carefully crafted illusion is collapsing. If even half of these whispers are true, then the music industry's most powerful figures may soon face a reckoning that will dwarf any scandal we've ever seen.
There are people who did short sales on their stocks right after that, made a lot of money, including Sean Carter. Now I'm going to ask you, why would non-disclosure agreements need to be signed for an accident?
And here's the question that leaves us breathless. What if the next revelation isn't about the past, but about what's still happening right now? What if the secrets Jay-Z and Diddy share are still shaping the industry in ways we can't even imagine? Could Beyoncé hold the final card, the one story that would bring it all down once and for all? We may be standing on the edge of the greatest unraveling in music history, one that could destroy legends and rewrite everything we thought we knew. But what do you think? Are Jay-Z and Diddy truly lovers bound by secrets? Or is this just another wild conspiracy spun out of control? Drop your theories in the comments, because this storm is only getting started. Until next time, stay sharp, stay curious, and never stop asking the questions they don't want answered.